So if you haven't been in the forum before, we have a couple of simple guidelines. A question should end with a question mark. You're certainly free to make a few framing statements if you want to before you ask your question, but we ask you to come to either of the microphones to ask your question, and we welcome your presence.
Hi, Lieutenant Choi. First of all, thanks for being here.
It's great to be here.
My name's Alex Palmer. I'm a sophomore at the college. And I just wanted to ask you, do you think going forward with your movement, it's going to be more important to appeal directly to some of the higher officials, like President Obama, hope to appeal directly to him, or to get a well of popular support going so that it's sort of an unignorable movement that Obama has to respond to?
Thank you for a wonderful question. I think it's not necessarily one or the other. You have to do both. And when you look at the necessity of pressuring high-level leaders, we can take a look at history when you see President Truman, through executive order and through his leadership, repealed the segregation in the military. And President Eisenhower, who used the executive authority as commander-in-chief to desegregate Little Rock High School. And President Johnson, who, through pressuring Congress, was really the force behind getting the Civil Rights Act passed. So it's absolutely important that the highest levels of government are on our side, but particularly when you look at the fact that President Obama has promised very clearly that he would repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And he has said it repeatedly, that he would do everything that he can. What we're seeing right now, and what the masses are seeing, the people on the ground, is that this is an absolute betrayal of the promise. It's a betrayal of the LGBT community, and it is a betrayal of our American principles, that we would have this kind of law on our books. So we're going to do everything that we can to continue pressuring the president, because it is the president who can put into the defense authorization budget and defense authorization bill, and that is the only way that you're going to get it past the Senate. And to say that anybody is politically naive, to say, well, you need to be trying to do other things, you can't be pressuring the president. It's not only our right to pressure the president, it is our responsibility.
I'm Dave Tier, I'm a mid-career student here, also an officer in the Army. I seen you on TV, and my question for you is, knowing how much the Army needed skills from linguists and the investment that the military has made in you, wondering why you decided this time, when the nation needs those skills so much, that you decided to make your announcement?
It's a very interesting question, and thank you very much. For a lot of people, they say that it is your decision to come out, and what's inherent in what you're pointing out is that I somehow didn't realize that I was somehow leaving my soldiers while they might be going to a mission. So the onus is now on me, and it's my fault. And the fact of the matter is, nobody forced me to come out, so it was a decision that I made on my own volition. Why did I come out at the time that I did? Apparently you didn't buy the fact that my mom was that annoying, but it was actually true. But when I got into a relationship for the first time in my life, after I came back from Iraq in late 2007, that was the first relationship I ever had. I understood love for the first time, and I had never had a girlfriend or a boyfriend. But coming back from Iraq and also seeing my brother get married, I realized, how long am I going to wait to get on with my life? How much longer can I continue living in the closet and lying about who I am? When I understood commitment and maturity, mutual respect and growth in the context of love, intimacy, for the very first time in my life, then I realized why Don't Ask, Don't Tell is so absolutely wrong. Because it wasn't just about me being in the closet. I had to force my boyfriend into the closet and into non-existence. So that was in early 2008. And as we continued on in our relationship, I just had to talk about it. And I would tell people in my unit, I would say, because I wanted to stay in the military, I said, I have a wonderful, beautiful, amazing girlfriend. And I would create a pseudonym. His name is Matthew, and I would say Martha is the best girlfriend ever. And she's so wonderful, and everybody would be like, well, we want to meet Martha. We really think that she's great. And we want to know, my soldiers, and we want to know, is she as hot as you say she is? So they always wanted to meet, and I was creating excuses and reasons as to why I shouldn't, or why they shouldn't meet with my girlfriend. She's just too busy, or she just isn't ready to meet my friends. And they weren't buying it. And they said, no, we're going to go drive down to New York City, because I was stationed up at Fort Drum in upstate New York. And we're going to go and meet Martha, because if she's that important to you, then we want to bring her into our circle too. And at one point, I just didn't know what to say. I couldn't come up with any more lies, and I just said, look, she just hates Army people, okay? Which didn't make any sense to him. Well, if she hates Army people, then why? They got the point, and they were just like, okay, we're going to stop asking. We decided that we're going to continue the relationship, and I said, well, I can't deal with going into active duty all the time, every single day, and having to lie about it. So I thought going in the National Guard was going to be easier, because hey, then you only have to lie once a month. That's all the better. But then, as I came out to my parents, 1 year after the relationship started, and I finally felt that I was able to come to terms with myself, and it was much better to face the consequences of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I realized that my love relationship and telling the truth made it all worth it. And I continued on after I told my parents. I met other veterans who were gay. This is the first time I'd ever met any gay veteran in my life. And when we got together, and some of them West Point graduates, we started this group of West Point alumni who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. And when we got together and started sharing our love stories, we said, there's no reason why we can be hiding any of this. Because then you realize how absolutely dangerous and how absolutely, I think, suffocating, and the cloud of shame that's always following you. You don't realize that when you're just a single person, loveless, relationshipless, sexless, and that's all you are in the military. And that's what I was for the longest time. And then when I finally understood a love relationship, I understood what people were talking about. I understood what the romance novels, not that I read all the romance novels, but I understood what the people were talking about in poems and in movies. I understood what the love songs were that what people were singing about. I understood what Beyonce was singing about. Your love got me going so crazy right now, got me going so crazy in love. I understood all that. Some people criticize me when I say that, because I should really say that I understood what Lady Gaga was singing about, because she's more like gay friendly. But the truth is, I don't really know what Lady Gaga is singing about. I sort of need an interpreter. But I presume it's about love. And so for me, I understood finally that being in a love relationship was something I could do too. And it made me a better person. It made me a better soldier, because I knew that there was somebody who supported me. It made me a better officer, because then for the first time I understood why I had to go to all those family readiness group meetings with all of the wives and their coffee, and understood why it was so important. I understood why my soldiers would go through a difficult time if they're going through a divorce or if they're going through a breakup. And that stuff I just never really understood on a personal level, because I was following the rules of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And so for the first time I realized, what is it all worth? And is it really lying? And then I realized this whole time I've been doing this to myself. So I'm grateful to have made that decision. I think even considering that we are in a time of war, being a better officer right now, because I understand soldiers' concerns and the support that they need, it was not a mistake at all. And the fact of the matter is, I am still serving in the military. And the public nature of my case and my continuing to speak out, for 10 months now, the military hasn't found out what to do with me. The fact of the matter is, they realize the embarrassing nature of somebody who just refuses to lie.